Hello, hello, everyone. And by everyone, I mean no one, because I don't think anyone's here right now. But even if there is one person there, glad to be here. But you're happy to be joined with both myself, Blue, and of course, Sakura Blue to my right. I guess would it be my right? I'm not sure how people will be looking at it. So yeah, just probably my right. I guess my left, but you're right. It doesn't really matter. We're gonna watch some Altered Weekly Online League Season 3 Wednesday Weekly number 13. 13 is what it is. The matchup should have been starting as of right now. So let me go ahead and refresh and yeah, watch watch some round one games here. It looks like we got a total of 45 players, so a solid group here for the Wednesday weekly. Um, Done. Let's just Simon announcing pairings as Simon does, like announcing pairings. All right, let's watch some games. Do. Anyone want to take a look? Let's watch Erlea. Erlea is always bringing some fun decks. Table 6. Erlea versus Floppy Frog. Let's watch some gameplay here. Oh, you know what? I haven't logged in. That's why it looks funky. Can hold on a second as I log in, and then we can watch some games. Promise. Did see a Gerlang there. So, why am I having such a trouble time saying it? Oh man, it's been a long day. Either way, we should be good now. Um, we were good. All right. Now we're good. There we go. Things look better. Yep. All right. Gerlang. Was I saying Gerlong? I don't know, bro. This has been a day. Wild stuff. Either way, day 2 it looks like. Or is it day 1? Day 1. 2 for 1 day 1. Going to Erlea on the Finn. Maybe getting some players messing around with Finn more. Now that we saw that victory in the NA BGA Online World Championship qualifier, ran by yours truly here at AWOL. So you're welcome for that. Cheers. It's gonna be a pretty lax stream today with myself doing most of the talking. Sakurai Blue is actually sleeping behind those glasses, so probably not gonna be speaking that much, or has been drinking too much wine. I'm not sure. Either way, Girling going with the common Mescatet, not one you get to see very often. Main difference being that it doesn't have the arrow effect. I guess technically it's not bad, but usually you don't want to play it without the arrow effect. Uh, Either way, it happened, and now they'll get the effect of the Mescatet. No golden ship though, just a regular ship. Mm. I worry now that Finn's going to be the most popular Lyra hero. I was like in the days of Navenka, to be honest. Enjoying a good Navenka day. Good Navenka meta, you know what I'm saying? What can you do? One question I did have for anyone that's watching that got to watch my reveal video, obviously with Sakura Blue, is how many people actually caught all the Easter eggs I left? Like I still have this sticker or this card of Ortis Recruit that has tape on it that I actually put on the shoe that I threw at my minion, and no one mentioned that, so I was curious if anyone saw it. Either way, we get a unique Hortus Crier, 2-3-1-1-2. If your reserve is empty, the next card you play this afternoon costs 1 less. That's fun. I do get a Requiem played though. Good card these days. Always a fan of a solid Requiem. Good for any fun stuff the internet's drummed up lately. Kinda been a wild couple of hours. Let's see. On to the next day here. Getting close to that 8 mana turn here for the gold ring player. Maybe potentially work something out. They did lose their Musketet though to the Cloth Cocoon, I believe it was. Also using common field reinforcements. Another common I wasn't expecting. Makes you wonder what rares the gold ring player is using, you know? They're not using the rare field reinforcements or Musketet. Usually pretty good staples in the gold ring meta these days. But for the time being, no common or no rare for those. Maybe they're doing a mix and match. I'm not quite sure. Floppy Frog making some decisions here. I am gonna sip on some sparkling water. Spindrift. If you haven't had it, try it. Good old fashioned Ortis Overseer that we do see a lot in the common variety for Gold Ugh. Acapella training. Good card, good card. Always liked it back in the day when I was using Lyra. Only 2 mana left here for the Finn player on earlier. I have to see if they could come up with any type of way to get around those big boy tokens. And they do. So we'll get a 1 for 0. Only 2 advances away at this moment. Going up on the 7 mana turn for the gold ring player. Only needs one more to remove that ability that'll make the defenders not, or the defenders, the tokens not defender. Big day, big day. How's everyone been liking the reveals lately for Skybound Odyssey? Oh, I've been enjoying them. Got to see some fun cards as of late. Obviously, going to have some more coming up soon in the next week or so, right? Be fun. Hathor. Good card, good card. Oh, there's the rare Musketet. So they were just using one common for another rare slot. And they weren't going full rare Musketet, full common Musketet. So that's good to know. Magping Hoarder. Been finding their way into this meta, it seems like. We tried to use it early on in the Trial by Frost, but didn't like it as much, to be honest. I understand that it's essentially just a Bravos Tracer, but I don't know. I think I was tending towards using other common cards instead of the Magping. But it looks like we got a forfeit from the gold ring player. Or no, they just earlier just straight up won. I wasn't paying attention. Luna Signet is goaded earlier. I think a lot of people are like the signets as far as cards in general. So maybe a good design choice there by Equinox, given those factions something to look at forward to there. They seem to be pretty fun. Give you the option to play Muna. How you like in the Finn? Were you inspired, or were you already planning to use Finn before the recent weekend's results? All right, let's look at some more games. I'm gonna scroll back here. Oh, a lot of droppers, including AQZ Pandy Andy. I thought he quit. Just kidding. I know he's still playing some games, just quitting the streamer life lately. Heard he's Andy, you're what we call it, what's the name for people who make bread? Baker? Is he a baker now? I don't know. By the way, oh, Gamma Knight's around. That's cool. Let's look at this table. Should be fun. Table 19. It's Sadi versus Teja. So you got to make the meta fit you, Arlea. Just gotta make it work. Can't conform. Gotta make it work. Ooh, a common daughter of Yggdrasil on Tasia of all characters. That's fun. We also see a common spindle harvester, which makes me think festival, but who knows? Not sure what Coco's doing here. Working some magic, the old fashioned KRA team. A lot of mana here for the Atati player, though. Possibly more once that Mighty Jin leaves. We'll have the opportunity to essentially double the Tasia on the current mana, at least on the following day. But we have to wait for Tasia to play here first. Still could definitely play that Daughter of Yggdrasil, and we sure enough get to see that come out. Still 4 mana left, though, for the Itzaris. They should be able to go 1 for 1 here, I'd have to imagine. Oop. Didn't even have to worry about it. They just went gigantic instead. Veilmon OP. Not a card I expected to do too well, if I'm going to be honest, but Saudi players making it work. 4 mana, 5/5/5 is pretty good, especially if it's gigantic, right? Other than that, anyone has any favorite characters that they've been looking at from the new set? Excited for the OP promos, if anyone's still in here. Crickets, crickets. Either way. Tasia, onus on them at this moment. Gonna play the Spindle Harvesters. Veilmon being a pretty big threat here. So we'll see it being played immediately. 5/5/5 worth of stats, both expeditions. Has to feel pretty good. It is on that 4 mana region though, so it is open to a lot of good removal, especially since Luna does have access to a little bit more than they used to in previous sets. Ugh. Ugh. Long thought here. 2 cards in hand for the Tasia player. And they're just gonna straight up pass with 6 mana left? What? They just giving up? Doesn't seem fun. And the Saudi player is just gonna play the physical training for the funsies of it, it looks like. Get some card draw. Obviously didn't need the stats, but, digging for something that they might like. And Duel of Grit anyway, I don't even wanna deal with that card next turn because it's anchored. Oh, man. So double advance there for the Tati player, going adjacent, looking pretty good right now. Originally behind against the Tasia player, but now they are in fact ahead after getting 2 2-0s. Would that make them behind though? Or were they even? I don't know. Probably even, right? Yeah, because there's 4 spaces for the Tasia. Well, we'll see if Tasia can find the way out of this. Probably not. I think the fact that they passed with 6 mana left an indicator of they're kind of giving up on the game, but you never know. Crazier things could happen. Looks like something dropped on the floor. Hold on 1 second. Maybe not. Maybe it was left there. Oh, always weird thing with YouTube is it defaults to top chat instead of live chat, which would probably be more of an issue if like this we had like a busy chat, but not really now. Ooh, big unique Kaibara 910 888. I am gigantic. I have tough X where the X is number of regions between your hero and companion, and when I leave the expedition zone, sabotage. And discard ability, draw a card. So it's kind of like the standard Kaibara, but with the unique effect of sabotage and a support ability. So that's fun. We have already seen 2 dual grits, though, I'm pretty sure. And we're going to see some more gigantic stuff happening, too. Not sure how Tage is going to handle it. We'll definitely need some removal or prevent Atsadi from winning this game. Ooh. Oh, physical training. Don't get to see that in Muna very much. Especially since I feel like physical training in Muna would be better if it actually allowed for the card draw. I wonder why they decided not to do that for Muna. You think it would have just been too OP, given the card draw in addition to the boosts? I don't think so. I think it would have been pretty good. Anyone have any opinions on that? I don't know. There's very few buffs that I want to give to Muna, the main one being Arjun, but always felt like the physical training rare in Muna should have just been the rare version that you get from Bravos. But I don't know. Ooh, giving the boost to the Kaibara. Congrats, Kaibara. You're super gigantic now. Fun unique card art too. I actually was just opening some cards from Whispers. I still have at least one more box I want to open. Try to I still haven't done all the organizing for my playset. And I got a unique Theseus. That's what it was. Theseus. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I had to burp. A unique Theseus, and I hadn't realized I think I had really paid attention to the unique art for the Theseus. And it's pretty fun. Has like some fun shades on, little cool guy haircut, all that good stuff. Really modern. Either way, for anyone that's been watching, you are watching the Altered Weekly Online League, Season 3, Wednesday Weekly, number 13. I am Blue Oak TV, joined by Sakura Blue. If you haven't watched my reveal video yet, go to my YouTube. It's pretty cool. There's 2 videos. They're both fun. Either way, we are in the Swiss round 1. We still haven't quite finished round 1 yet. Um, I have to see who we wanna take a look at. Oh, looks like Gus is playing too. Gus Wanted to play rather than casting with me. What a jerk. So we'll take a look to see if that game's almost over. All right, we got a Faunus v Subash. Oh, he was playing the starter deck? That's unfortunate. Well, them's the break sometimes, I guess. I've definitely been there though. Most times people are kind enough to let you abandon the game, but I guess that makes it a little bit more difficult when you are in a tournament rather. But you do the best you can. Either way, that was a quick one. Gus lost. I think me going there to curse him was the reason why I lost for not wanting to cast today. So, ha 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 ha. Let's see what else we have going left here. I think there's one. No, there's two games left. One of them being a goal rank game. I'm pretty sure that's going to take it the time, but we'll take a look at it. Sure, why not? Oh, look, it's an army. Overlast has one of those uniques. When another character joins your expedition, if you control four or more characters, draw a card. And you may sacrifice a character or permanent. If you do, I gain one boost per card in your hand. It's pretty good, Silas. We also have an Aegis Templar, Scouting. If you control one or more landmarks, create Norse recruits to blah 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 and target expedition. And when another character joins my expedition, if I'm leading, create Norse recruit soldier token in your other expedition. Interesting use of a token generator because it has a condition. I think Overlost would might want to use a different type, but maybe there's a specific reason that they would like this Templar. I guess for the scout ability or target expedition. I don't know. Good stats though, I guess. How's everyone feeling leading up to October? We're going for the World Championship. Any initial favorites based off of people that have qualified thus far that anyone likes? Some players that I'm waiting on to qualify, to be honest. I'll be sad if they don't, but I guess some of them will have the chance to do the last chance qualifier. Have to see if that works out. Gold ring player looking like they're in a pretty good spot at the moment. Setting up that Inkcaster to get a card return. Not a bad one. Oh, I didn't see a unique Anansi. You may put a card from your hand in reserve. If you do, I gain a boost for each card in each player's reserve. Nice. And then from hand, so hold on. Control one or more landmarks up to one target character with hand cost 3 or less other than me gains anchored. So that's a fun one. It's a good card. So looks like we may be returning the Anansi or the Twinkle Twinkle. I'm guessing the Anansi, but who knows? Ah, 2 barely any cards left for both players. Been a long round one, to be honest. A little setup going for the Finn with the 2 Tech Lab units. Oh, ugh, man. I guess I could look at chat. Mm, taking that down. There's that Anansi again, hanging out, getting some stats, potentially. I was about to say, definitely could see that license withdrawal being played here. Not a bad one to hit. As far as a unique card to discard it, still a good version of the Anansi there in the common variety. Only cost 2 mana. Still a lot of mana for both sides, though, comparatively. Ugh. You know what sounds good right now? Let me get it here once the next round starts. A little snack. Sh- But I want to get it before get on round two before we do that, so that way you guys wouldn't be just left with the empty screen instead of some gameplay and soccer blue to hold you tight. What a guy! Movable Armory. That's a good card. Probably one of my favorite reveal videos back in Trial by Frost. You ever want to check that out? Should go on YouTube and see who did that one. Hint, it's me. My YouTube. Either way. Double advance here for the gold ring player. Only needs a double advance more to take this game. Have been taking their time to see who can take this one. Not surprising with gold ring though. Finn player putting up a good fight though, so both players are equally talented. Ugh. How you doing, French Canadian experience? You still there? If you are, tell me your thoughts on the new set. Any other reveals you like? Leia likes the Moon as Signet. Not a big spell fun enjoyer, for the characters. They're the ones who can be unique, just like me. Either way, Alice, unique. Speaking of, 2/2, 1/3/1. And from anywhere, if you control one or more landmarks, you may return a card from your reserve to your hand. Solid card return. They're on an arrow ability. Interesting. Getting a little feedback there. I don't think my mic is dying. So I could check. Orders Gatekeeper 2/4. You know, you need your expeditions, or another target joins your expedition, blah 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 blah. You may put a card from your hand in reserve. If you do, create two tokens. I think it died on my headset because of I'm not actually talking to anyone. I'm not getting any audio back, so my headset just kind of shuts off on me. I think. Either way, happens again. No big deal. Ooh, all right. We get a Requiem, another good removal card these days. Knocking out that unique Ordis Gatekeeper. Does not want to deal with it. Ooh, good old fashioned Conjuring Seal as well. Ebenezer Scrooge. That's a fun card. Not bad either. Gives you the option to sleep something if you have something worth sleeping at for. Could be pretty cool with a token generator or something that where it gives you cards. But I'm pretty sure the card draw uniques are at 5 costs. so not as good. This is a 4 cost one out there, but I've never seen a 4 cost one. I think most of them have been 5 cost. GG's though, Goring takes it. I believe that should be the last game of the Swiss round 1 here for the Altered Weekly Online League Season 3, Wednesday Weekly number 13. And we'll go ahead and switch back to the caster screen. We'll get into the Swiss round 2. I'm gonna put a game up and then give me, like, 30 seconds to go grab a snack. It just popped in my head. Any players have a preference here as far as, games we should watch? No? Um, let's watch the, After You killer match. Both AFTU members between Aklo and Ambrusa. See who can take it. Who can be the head jaguar? Is it a jaguar? Pretty sure it's a jaguar. Has a purple tongue, so that's fun. Totally forgot that it makes that sound for BGA with like a knocking door when the game's ready. It's hilarious. All right. Gameplay. Y'all can stare at this for a little bit, and I'm gonna go grab a little treat, little tasty treat. Here. Realized I was muted that whole time. Either way, I was pointing out the brownie. Special kind of brownie at a grocery store here. Got a little fudge drizzle and M&Ms. They're quite good. Either way, we have a Finn versus a Basira. Finn resurgence is strong. All someone's got to do is win a tournament, and then that hero gets popular. Obviously, both Brazilian players here. Let's take a look at that unique. Hold on, I can do it. Uh, I have season when another character joins your expeditions. If you control two or more boosted characters, I gain two boosts. At dusk, if you control two or more boosted characters, draw a card. That's fun. Little card draw on the Blade Dancer. Lost an M&M. I don't see it. Unfortunate. Oh well, sure I'll find it later. Either way, went for zero there for the fin. So I know people like, or at least have pushed the no unique format. I guess I'll before I ask this, I'll make sure there's anyone still hanging out. Um, does anyone have like an opinion on if you think altered as a game um could be, let's say, self-sufficient, or just the game by itself could have worked without the uniques and we just had a different higher rarity or something, or maybe even two higher rarities to have like four without the unique idea. I feel like it could have, right? Even if it was just one more rarity that wasn't unique but something else, still would have been fun. Like I mean, I enjoy the game 36 of the 39 cards kind of thing, right? Also enjoy draft, sealed not as much, but draft, and the like. And you don't really need uniques for that. So I think it would have been interesting to know though, right? Like officially. But every card you name needs a little bit something different. And I think the unique idea is fun. Yeah. I totally agree with both of you. French Canadian experience and Lucio Rodriguez the third. It was just like a theoretical question, right? You need something to make your game special and push the market. Um, they would decide to go with something like Uniques, print on demand, online marketplace. I do think the game would not. The game isn't obviously doing amazing in places like North America, but I think it probably would have been doing worse had we don't have Uniques. Because other than that, like, what do we have to search for? Get a case, you get a playset, right? At least for the recent sets, maybe not Beyond the Gates, but plus there's not that excitement factor. Obviously, they're doing, the, uh the other stuff too. Was it special packs now? I forget what they're called, but essentially what the God Pack used to be, right? Not the same thing, but somewhat to help you find. So that'll be fun just to see if we can hit that again. Collectibles can push the market. Yeah, I mean, they can. I think they did need to do something, though. Problem with collectibles is you already have to have the demand, and really didn't have the IP, so you had to come up with something unique for people to want to check out. You said the whole government name? I did. I mean, that's what you're showing on YouTube, so, I I'm not going to shorten it. If that's what you have on YouTube, I assume that's what you want me to call you. Unless you're cold, then I'll just say idiot or fuck you. Can bleep that out. Gameplay, by the way, Basira currently in the lead here on the AFTU battle. Imbruza versus Aklo. Should be an interesting one. I'm a big fan of Snowball Commando. I don't think I saw it a lot though in Fins earlier. Yeah, North American market's way different. No money can be made from getting rare collectible cards, so it's not getting any traction. Yeah, and it's just a saturated market, right? There's a new card game that's happening every week, and then when right when you think you found something, an old card game that's popular, Magic the Gathering, releases another set, and that happens every 2 weeks. So I have heard though that they're not happy about the. I haven't kept up with it because I didn't care about it as much as I cared about Final Fantasy IP. But they don't like the Spider-Man set, right? Or people are not happy about Spider-Man set. The Unique's been hanging out for a while though for that the Seer player. It seems like it's fun, Unique though. Yeah, Soccer Blues hanging out, Cole. We're talking about Altered and if it could have thrived without uniques and just had a different rarity instead that was consistent for cards, but not having the unique idea. The consensus is the game could have still been fun, but it may not have gotten the same type of little oomph, because it needs something special. Tolarian Skater out here giving some boosts, being able to activate that unique effect on the Blade Dancer. You didn't see it earlier, there it is. Yeah. The initial draw in for me was definitely the online aspect for sure. But then I actually played the game and it just made it better for me, because I enjoyed the game. Unique Ozma. Does give control two or more boosted characters. Draw cards. Get some card draw going here. Nice. Trying to keep up with that thin source ability. Yeah, I mean, I think we could all agree that that was the case with the early uniques. I feel like they had to do that though. I don't know how many of you are like hardcore meta video game players or not, but typically the best way to play to create new characters in a game, whether it be like a MOBA or the hero shooters or games like Valorant or something, is you make your new characters or your new items or your new whatever it may be overpowered because it's always easier to dial it down, right? And have people want to play the game and want to play something that's overpowered than have them be underpowered and people be underwhelmed by it. Which, if you're gonna go one way or the other, I'd prefer you go on the overpowered side, to be honest, because it gives people incentive to want to buy those cards because they want to be good and blah 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 blah. Same thing with anything else, and it's gonna give some type of incentive there. And then obviously you can dial it down after that. I do think they have dialed it down a little bit too much because now there's not as much of incentive to want to buy like Trial by Frost, for example, because like who gives two shits about Trial by Frost uniques? I think the only thing that got people excited for a little bit were the Belisenki uniques, and you don't even see those anymore. A clue hitting Finn where it hurts. Thing is, this isn't something that can be addressed easily and rapidly, so it creates an issue. It can't easily. I mean, it's relative. I feel like Altered has a better way of addressing these things than a lot of other similar types of, like, I mean, card games, for example, like, we get a patch we get 2 patches every season. It's like a fucking video game. They have scheduled patch times and watch lists and all this kinda stuff. And because it's an online marketplace and a digital game where you can play it digitally, you are more apt to be able to address things that could be overpowered rather than something that's completely physical and you have to reprint constantly because you don't want to do that as a card game company. But since Altered is based off the idea of reprinting and of being digital, I feel like they're in a better position to address it than another one. I do agree with you though, with the French Canadian experience. I just think of the games, Altered is probably in a better spot to do it. What's up, Insane 94? Having a little bit of a chat, talking about how if feeling like Altered could last without uniques or a different tier of rarity other than uniques to play the game. Just talking about different things along those lines. Appreciate it, Insane 94. I enjoyed making it. It was a good time. Congrats to Imbrusa though for taking this after you team match here, showing them that the Siret is still the champ. We'll switch back here to another game as we continue to talk. It's fun getting to chat a little bit, having a nice little discussion while we're having a casual setup here for the Altered Weekly on League Line League Week 13. Let's pull up another game while we wait. Let's looked at them already. Looked at them already. How about table 3? Tasia versus Itzadi. I think we watched Itzadi earlier. I should have paid attention. It's fine. Well, let's continue watching. In the meantime, I'll put chat back up here. But yeah, thanks for the love on the video. I enjoyed making it. Uh, the idea was fun. Glad I was able to get a card named Blue, and it made it super cool, kind of thing. Plus, the card seemed pretty good. Oh, and this game's already over. But Baba Yaga out of faction, been banned for 4 months. Yeah, I mean, I for sure. I mean, the the jellyfish has been banned for how long now, or suspended, right? I would love to see that come back. It is a hard card to deal with. I think that's your best argument is the fact that the jellyfish is still suspended, and they still haven't found a way to get rid of it. Granted, it's only been one card, but yeah, I think that's one of the things. Either way, let me go to casters real quick so I can switch it. I saw someone mentioning a spelling as far as blue. I'll double check to make sure I saw it right, but I intentionally did it as BLUE, not BLEU. Make it different. Table 11. Let's see if we can watch the end of that game. It's Sadi versus Afanis. Let's see. If you come to the last chance, I promise to get you some cheese. The blue with his blue in French. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate it. I got shit for the cheese that I put on the video and the bread. No one complained about the wine though. I guess you didn't know what type of wine it was, so there wasn't a complaint to be for sure on that. But yeah, the cheese wasn't actually that bad. It wasn't it was cut when I bought it, but, it wasn't the prepackaged cheese that where they put the, starch on it to keep it preserved. This was actually freshly cut and then packaged that way, so the expiration date was actually reasonable and not, like, lasting for weeks. And so I actually have to eat the cheese really quick, and it was good cheese. I hate the pre-sliced or pre-shredded cheese as well that they have to add, like, that potato starch to it to keep it preserved. Makes it horrible as the cheese is fine, but when you're trying to cook it with stuff, it makes it, like, really grainy, and it's not a fun time. Yeah. Then obviously the baguette was not no one was a fan of the baguette. It was sour though at least, so I was able to make a good sandwich out of it. That was good. By the way, 2 uniques here for the Faunus player. I get anchored when you play a spell. If I have 2 or more boosts, target character gains 1 boost. That's fun. Or Overseer. When you play a spell, create an Oris recruit soldier token and target expedition. That's another fun one. I like those uniques. It's cool seeing the Faunus players trying to make something else work out. And yeah, insane. I plan to be there for the entirety of the event. I wanna be there for the last chance, and I kinda just wanna see the whole world championship and all the stuff that's gonna happen. And the main thing is just to meet all the people that I haven't met within the altered community. I mean, people that I've talked to online, but I haven't gotten to see in person. I think that'd be pretty cool. Oh, I didn't put the game up. My bad. I got so busy talking. Sorry. Here are the cards. I'll show the uniques real quick. Spindle Harvester, Mortis Overseer, and then the Swift Gen. I don't think I talked about the Swift Gen. 5/5, 5/4/5, Scout 3. You may put a card from your hand in reserve. If you do, put the top card of your deck into the mana zone. Good old rampy boy. But yeah, no, it should be fun. I'll be excited to see all the main thing that's gonna be hard for me, and I wanna pitch this to everyone that's gonna go to the last chance qualifier or the world championship, is wear a name tag. Uh, Obviously, I don't know what you look like the majority of the time, so, like, wear a name tag of whatever oh, sorry, whatever your, Discord or BGA name is. Makes it easier. Otherwise, I'm gonna be walking around and I'm gonna be looking for people and I'm gonna be like, "What's your name? What's your name?" And you're gonna tell me your first name or something, and I'm gonna be like, "You gotta tell me what your, in-game name is." So everyone wear a name tag. Post that later on just so that way everyone knows, but it'd be cool. So be like, "Oh, obviously that's Insane 94." Go into a, arena tiebreaker here. Ooh, getting him with a sabotage. What is he gonna hit? Yeah, hit the Conjuring Seal. Don't even let him play 5 mana for that. Swift Jin, good stats, but is it gonna be enough? I think there's few things in the world that suck more than, playing, common Tooth Fairy from reserve. Maybe playing Amelia Earhart from hand. It's not a fun one either, but it never feels good. But you almost feel obligated to play Tooth Fairy, right? Wait, why didn't the Atsadi just play the bouncer from reserve? Confused. I had the mana. Either way, congrats to Bukox. Head on back. And no worries, Insane 94. What were you in a party of? All right, we'll head back here, see if there's any more games going on here at the Swiss Round 2. This has been the AWOL Season 3 Wednesday Weekly, number 13 thus far. Currently still in the Swiss Round 2. I think we have one more game left. Yep, it's Kickma and Tipsy Panda. I believe one of those is a Gold Ring player, if I remember correctly. Nope, I'm wrong. Navinka. Gameplay. Navinka and Finn. Unique Lakshmi. Lakshmi? When you roll one or more dice, up to two target players in play or in reserve each gain one boost. I like the idea of like the boosting the reserve characters. I don't feel like it's been utilized that much with the meta. Obviously, I think we've seen some people use it, but Not in the same way I think that people were expecting a lot. I don't know. Just my thoughts. Um, Anyone looking forward to any other particular like new mechanic or new setup in Skybound that he thinks going to revitalize things other than the new heroes? Maybe I think the airlift is going to be fun. Like the idea of adding more permanents to the game should be fun to see if the uniques that had those restrictions are going to get more and more popular. I feel like they have been already, especially with Bravos, right? Bravos loves landmark uniques now. There are a few people that don't, but I think Ortis does too with Gold Ring. Don't see a lot of landmarks though in Sigismar. It's like Navinka does have the lead at the moment, but they are running low on cards. It's a pretty big Martingale too. Oh, I didn't even notice they had the Ouroboros out as well. That's wild. Mm. But there is a pretty big little Nancy there hanging out. It's the one we saw in game one, I believe. Oopsie doopsie. Cole's talking about weird shit in Discord, as is tradition. Be pretty cool though to see this Navenka maybe take this game with Ouroboros. I know some Navenka players early and beyond the gates were like, "Oh yeah, you got to play Ouroboros. You roll dice." Then everyone kind of slowly realized that three cost tempo loss wasn't the shiznit, you know. But I don't know. Maybe they found a way to make it work, or maybe they have a unique that needs a landmark. I don't know. Because other than that, you're not really using too many landmarks these days for Navenka, are you? I think Finn is using the Tech Lab unit, but I don't really see other ones. I think the other dice roll one is Wayfarer, right? That was that's a card that I wish was better, you know, giving yourself more resources, but just doesn't quite hit the same. Either way, a lot of cards in reserve here for the Finn player, as is tradition as well. They also have an Anansi waiting, so not looking good for the Navenka. As a Navenka at this moment, I almost would try to roll to anchor your Martingale and just save your cards, right? I mean, they do have to deal with that anchored Anansi still, though. All right, 6 boost isn't bad for the Martingale, though. We take those. We'll have to definitely deal with that Anansi once it comes out, though. Imagine it's going to come out soon. Well, it's fully stacked unless there's another card they want to put in reserve. Yeah, there it is. Whatever. Sorry, I was reading something on emails. Either way, unique or Boros Trickster. You may put a card from your hand in reserve. If you do roll a die on 4 plus, I gain 2 boosts. On 1 to 3, I gain 1 boost. At dusk, if I have 1 or more boosts up to 1 target character with hand cost 3 or less other than me gains anchored. That's a fun card. X marks the spot's a fun card though. We haven't seen it a lot. It's kind of disappointed in that. I was hoping we could see that more often, but it is a fun card. There's a few cards these days that I wish that there was more involvement in the meta. Obviously, some aren't really feasible, but I feel like X marks the spot could find out its way back in. You never know. Anyone else have like any cards that they wish they could play more in the meta, but they just can't find a way to make it work consistently? I guess because there's a lot of cards that can be good in specific situations, but just not consistent enough to include in your deck. So yeah, I enjoy X marks the spot. I wish it was more popular. We'll have to see if the Finn though can make do with getting hit with that X marks the spot. They do have to deal with a 9 to 9 in stats, but they do have some cost reduction. They can. Sounds like they have an idea here. They are going to just play the Mag Ping. Still need to get up 5 more stats to block the mountain. 6 now potentially. Yeah, 6. Well, maybe it's a good thing. Navinka knew what they were doing. They're holding that removal for that Anansi. 5 mana left here though to play for the Finn player. Do they have 6 stats left in them? I don't know. Definitely could have another Anansi. That'd be a good one. They've played their other one though already, maybe, right? At least one of them just got X marks the spotted. So there can only be one left, and I'm pretty sure they played it already. Still in round 2 here though, I believe. Players are taking it to the limit. Are they they gotta be pretty close to the nearing time, right? Yeah, yeah, they're already we might be get we may get buzzard here. It's kind of important that the Finn I guess the Finn doesn't really care that they're ahead in time. They can afford to wait it out. They are able to get the stats and sleep the Martingale. So look at the double advance. Dead even, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to finish this day, to be honest. Time just may get the best of us. Kickma almost at that 0 second marker. EGA looming, ready to kick both of these players out. Or roll. Silent Night, another cool card. Wish we got to see more of. Especially at 1 cost. I thought it would be cool if it had more options. But obviously it doesn't always have that. But it is a fun card. Amale, also a good card. Probably gonna use a good amount of it here, yeah. Get some card draw going. Oh, full card draw here for it. That's cool. Wasn't expecting that. Thought they might want to keep like the Twinkle Twinkle or something. And Navinga's just gonna pass it. They realized that they couldn't take it. GG's though. Good game by both these layer players. It should be the end of Swiss round two. I've been blue. Here was Sacre Blue. Watching some Altered Weekly Online League Season 3, Wednesday Weekly 13. Heading into Swiss round 3. We're scheduled here for 6 rounds in total. I want to thank everyone that has joined us on the stream and in the games. Been a fun one thus far. Um, who do we want to take a look at? I feel like we've looked at a lot of people already, even though it hasn't been that long. Table 12, Baked Pigeon is a fun name. I feel like I've seen the name before too, or played against him, maybe. I don't know. Beards have been fluffy. Might get that trimmed. Either way, um, Basira versus Kojo. Let's switch it over. Tiny Jin, Tiny Jin. It's so similar. Oh, we're gonna see the same thing. It'd be possible. Both decks like to run them. Instead, we'll get the Chiron. I'm sure the Basir probably would have preferred the Chiron. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not. Seems like a cool play. No, Tiny Jin, Chiron, making it fun. Um, Players coming here in day two. Basir and Kojo is a fun matchup. I feel like a lot of people still prefer Kojo. I said before, I've been enjoying Basir, and I feel like a lot of other players have been too. I feel like the matchup isn't that bad for Basir either. Obviously, it helps to get certain things, but Horde Spy. It's a fun card. Normally you see it in Kojo though. I'm surprised to see it in Basira. Not usually a card that you expect to use the rare out of faction for in Basira. Be honest. Still fun though. Or probably one of my favorite sabotage cards. A lot of people were going away from it back in season 2 meta, but definitely worth it, I think. Especially if you have good enough uniques right for it, right? That was always fun. We do have the mess out as well. Didn't get to see that. Also a good card that we got recently. So making some meta moves these days. Not as much as I think a lot of people were expecting initially, but still doing some good stuff for the meta. Ugh, yawn. Not a lot of cards available here for both of these Bravos players, which isn't too surprising. But the Basira in a good enough spot to be able to get some card draw, maybe with the Sarengar. Maybe even a little mana ramp that could help them with some pseudo card draw, if you know what I mean. If you don't know what I mean you can decide not to mana next turn if you want to. I don't know. Beauty of drawing two cards, right? Ooh, ooh. Ugh, man, I am yawning. Ah, it's everyone's preference on the new heroes as a whole. Got any new meta dominators out there? I think we might be able to get to see a resurgence of Muna, for being honest. Like like the fun that it can produce. The idea of producing tokens as a whole, I feel like is always a indicator of potential meta shifts, you know? The potential of doing something well. Even if it's giving the token to your opponent. I'll be curious to see how that works. People can make that happen. We do get a nice little resupply into the Tomo Gozen. Can't be quite played that yet. One more turn. Day, rather. There you go. Ugh. I don't know why I'm so yawny. Guess it was an earlier morning. Nice little Mighty Jin play, though. Always good to have a solid little Mighty Jin play on forecast, you know what I'm saying? But this Fire Rabbit's gonna come in clutch here. Give them just enough boost to outstat the Mighty Jin in the mountain, let them advance, as well as add another bleeding token, right? Should have two trial counters at this point, shouldn't it? I guess they played it after. No, they must have played it after the Tiny Jin. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. But either way, low resources for both players. We didn't get to see the Haven Sarengar come out for the Basira, so they will not get card draw. But the Kojo will prevail in that aspect and getting a little bit of card draw. I'll be curious to see what the Basira tries to do next turn, because they would really only have 3 cards to play with if they decide not to mana, or if they're going to mana and just try to play 2 cards between the Sarengar and something else. Maybe get something that fits a little bit better in the mana curve. I don't know. Guess an Occlute wouldn't be a bad thing. It'll still be turn 2 Basira, but sets himself up enough and able to hit 1 card at least. I have to imagine the Mighty Jin's going to come out pretty quickly here for the Kojo player. Could work fine on either side. Obviously, it's not doing much to block water, but Basira is not really showing a lot of water at the moment. But the beauty of the Basira hero is that where you're typically worried about certain terrains like water in Bravos, is that you can usually dole out enough boosts to where it doesn't really matter as much, you know? Even if you have a 0 statted character. You know, is usually at least get 1 stat on all 3 terrains. Because you're more than likely running just about almost all your cards boost in some fashion. Maybe not your Serengars, maybe not your Tiny Gens, but a lot of your other cards do. And even if they don't, you find a way to trigger it, right? Clarence Skater's another good one. Some players don't like it as much in Kojo though. Interesting. So they decided to throw the Tiny Gen out first, knowing that they could probably be running into a maybe an Occlute play here. This could be devastating just by trying to play Tiny Gen first. Maybe they weren't reading it. Feel like it's something that you would want to play early. Yeah, here's the Occlute. I would have wanted to get that Mighty Gen out. I don't care. So I'm hitting the Mighty Gen here for sure. Maybe even the Tomo Gozen. I don't know. What are the stats looking like? Yeah, Tomo Gozen wouldn't be a bad hit. Slayer and Skater obviously is still good, but you're definitely going Mighty Gen. I feel like Tomo Gozen is still the play. Guess if you hit the Talarian Skater, you kind of prevent the ramping on the Tiny Gen. Maybe that's what they want to focus on. Yeah, and that's what they're gonna do. They don't want to give a boost to Tiny Gen if they can help it. So they're gonna let him play the Tomo Gozen, which will be enough stats in Mountain to stat over the Clute. So we still maybe be looking at a 2 for 0 here for the Kojo player, or at least a 2 for 1. Still have one more card left to play in hand too. I gotta imagine the Serengar is still coming out here, right? You want to get that card draw. You want to get a little bit of resources, especially since you decide not to mana in the previous turn. Just kind of set yourself up a little bit, you know? So they will throw it out there. Um, Potentially trying to go for their own double advance, and they will get it. Interesting. So it's a 2 for 2. Stuff you can see like this happens a lot in Bravos and Nira. So fun little setup there. Kojo not even wanting to deal with the ability of playing that card from hand either. They will get a good amount of counters though on the mess to give them a resupply. So I'm sure they'll be happy about that. Basira does get that card draw, and they will be able to double exhaust here as well when it comes to the Occlute. And they will be able to third counter the peak as well. So technically 3 boosts. Also, they actually they don't have to utilize the Basira ability here. That'll be nice for them, just to be able to exhaust both cards in reserve. Or do they want to wait on it and see if the Kojo will resupply and hit those 2 cards? No, I think you're gonna hit the Jins. The Jins are too good. You never know what they could resupply. It might not be worth it. You can also try to exhaust it later. Yeah, I think you just play the Clute here. Get the boost from the Icebound Peak, get your regular boost. Hit both of their cards in reserve. Let them make them play from hand or whatever they get from the mess. Still a good amount of cards though for the Kojo to work with. Oh, they decided to mana too, so they feel pretty confident. So they got to pick Resolve Order here. I don't think there's any reason to use your Basir ability here, unless you don't have another activation for it. But it looks like they're going to use it anyway. I don't think they needed to. They should have just held it. At least hold the threat of it, because your card gets a boost here, so you don't really need to. I don't know if they knew that or if they weren't really paying attention, but it's probably shouldn't have done that. We'll see what other cards they have in hand though. That might be able that may just not trigger it. Well, you get to see the Pathfinder come out. Curious to see how much we see of Pathfinder later on. Feels like we're seeing cards now in the new set that may just replace it in the common variety, so not sure if we're gonna see it as much anymore. Um, Garrick to Reverend Duelist. If I would gain fleeting, I gain one boost instead. And then from reserve, you may put a card in your reserve. If you do, draw a card. Otherwise, resupply. Oh, that's a fun little resource, Garrick. There. Should have had stats and mountain, but other than that, that's a not a bad card. Weird to see it in Basira though. Feel like there'd be. Well, I guess it gets the boost from fleeting instead, so not bad, I guess. Still cool. Not bad stats either for 2 mana cost from hand. Not great, but still solid. The Kojo is just one advance away from taking this, though. Looks like they're gonna stack up there. And so they did have the Fire Rabbit, which is just more confusing to me because that means they could have saved the Basira boost rather than put it all on the Clute. So maybe they just weren't paying attention. I don't know. We do see a rabbit coming out of the Kojo themselves, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. They could get the boost, but it just won't be enough to let them stat over the Basira. So doesn't end up mattering on the Basira trigger, but fun game here to watch in the Swiss round three. Glad we were able to take a look at it. Little fun faction battle between these two players. Basira looks like they're going to wrap this up with a 2-0. Fletch a Clute really puts into perspective that last play from the Kojo player not getting the Mighty Jin out early. They would have had an additional card here, or at least an additional mana. They would have had more stats on the board when it came to the previous day that they might have been able to advance and win. It's unfortunate for him. A lot of the times you get so distracted with the hand play of playing a one cost card that you don't realize what the potential play that your opponent could play. And in this case, the occlude is something you always got to be aware of, especially when you're playing Basira, right? So unfortunate for them. And the Basira player will take the victory. Congrats to them. That was a fun little match to watch. We'll head back. You are watching the Ultra Weekly Online League Season 3 Wednesday Weekly, number 13. I am Blue Oak TV. Joined with me today is Sakura Blue. Say hi, Sakura Blue. That's fine, you don't have to. Round 3 of the Swiss is ongoing still. Still got a game or two to take a look at. Watched them already. I don't know if we watched them. Table 5. Let's take a look. Traced and Traced. I don't think we've watched Trace yet, so at least we're watching some new people. But we are unfortunately watching a mirror match of Trace. And it looks like bottom Trace could potentially win this one, or they're just kind of letting things go here. One more advance will help them. Both players in a fairly good setup, though, as far as permanents and having some resources available to them. We get to see the Sap Sniffer activating on itself due to the Haven. You also get to have the traceability come in clutch a little bit here, get some more resources with the Dr. Frankenstein. Oh, I didn't even see the unique Athena. You control two or more landmarks that lose fleeting. And you may discard a card from your reserve. If you do, you may discard target permanent with hand cost 4 or more. Interesting one. I don't think we probably not the most ideal one, but still solid, I guess, for the two stats. See how Amethyst Rock is going to be able to respond here with the 4 mana that they have left. They only need one more advance, though. Be curious to see if they just decide to try to double hook here, um, which essentially the other trace can do as well. So may not matter. So they're going to start off with the one hook. Get a card draw out of it at least, and they also have some boosts available to them as far as the Keelan cylinders. Oh, I forgot the hook was in reserve, so can't double hook. Only single hook for the other trace as well. But has 3 cards in hand for the bottom trace, 2 cards for the top one. The Frankenstein will help, but won't stop officially yet. Still 2 mana left for the bottom trace. Still could do a lot here. Another hook would be helpful. A lot of other options they can mess with on 2 costs as well. Ooh, throwing out the Sap Sniffer. Only more of an after you here, being able to utilize those boosts out of the Keelan cylinders, seeing if we'll get a play out of the top trace and be the final person to play here to try to take the game, I think. Oh, sorry. Another Sap Sniffer, so same type of play, 1 mana apiece. I don't know if this bottom trace has anything else. I think they purely were trying to wait to make a last play, so that does look like that's the situation. And we will see both Keelan cylinder boosts come out here. Potentially. Looks like it. Gonna try to stack up on that hero side, try and get the advance. Oh, yawn. And just like that, we're still going. Really thought they had a chance to take that one. So unfortunate there. It just means we get another day here against this Trace matchup. Options for both of them, dead even on resources. Unfortunate for the bottom Trace because they only have one cylinder to work with. They put all the effort in to try to take that one down. Sorry about that. Just responding to something real quick. We do have a unique Keylon Elemental in reserve, where from hand or from anywhere you put a card from your hand in reserve, and then from hand you may discard a card from your reserve. If you do, you may have target character other than me lose fleeting. Interesting. Wonder how much that comes into play for this trace player. Vike is a fun card though for the bottom trace. And there will get to put down a unique one cost here from reserve. You may put a card from your hand in reserve. If you do, target character gains one boost. So really good there for the one cost, and we'll give them do the opportunity to do an after you, as well as put a card in reserve in case they wanted to do that. Be curious if we see something like a Sap Sniffer or a Dr. Frankenstein. Also a good card, kind of making utilizing that second Keylon cylinder when they weren't able to use it prior. Now the question becomes is does this bottom trace have enough gas here to push out to stop this top trace from making a comeback? They do still have two of those Haven Bravo Bastions available, so we'll have to see if it matters. Oh, and they do end up passing, so they don't feel like they can do it. Just too many stats here for the bottom trace. And despite almost giving this one back up as far as a comeback, they are able to close it out, able to maintain that early lead and get the victory here over their opponent in TDC. Crim's DM, congratulations to Amethyst Rock. And we'll head back on over here to see if we can get catch some many more games for anyone. And that actually was the end of Swiss round three. So on to Swiss round four here. Surprising. Thought we might be able to get another one in there. But Swiss round four of six here. Let's take a look at who we can look at. I don't know how many other players that we haven't seen at this point. I think we haven't even seen table one. So let's go ahead and take a look at table one. Players deciding on mana. Quick play here to start things out, though. Kojo against the Finn. As we're seeing a lot of Finn play lately. Exciting to see what different players could come up with and different strats here. We do get a one for one here on the Buddha turn. I'm sure the Kojo player would have liked to be able to get a 2 for, but not too bad, especially since they were able to get the mess out there, getting 2 counters on the mess itself, and, it's one more away here from being able to get some more, supplies, resupply here, and more resources as a Kojo player and as a Bravos player, which is super essential, as everyone is aware. We'll have to see how the Finn is able to ooh, what a great resupply going into the Anansi there, but it is going to not be played here immediately because 'cause they're gonna opt to return the magical training instead and do the good old-fashioned Finn play here of playing as many cards as possible before making that final play. But they do manage to get a double advance here on the 2nd day despite not having a Buddha, and realistically, not a lot here being played by the Finn player, probably doing a little bit of setup, it seems like. Gonna get rid of that magical training, don't have any way to return it at the moment, so no need to keep it in reserve. But yeah, I'm sure the Finn wasn't thinking that they'd have to give up a double advance there, but we'll have to see if it plays into what they were planning, and if some of the cards they wanna set up here and they think they could make up for it. Ooh, rough resupply though. Sure they much would have rather hit the draw on that. I guess at least it's not in your mana automatically, but definitely a card you wanna see in hand rather than in the reserve. And based off of that, the Kojo player is just gonna stack on one side, it seems like, here potentially to just maintain that lead against the Finn player. They get clue play. Sorry, I missed that one. But being able to show that not just Basira can use the clue, it's a nice little tech for Kojo players on occasion. Doesn't let them get the advances that they want. And I mean, just like that, despite having the early lead, Finn able to grasp the lead. And this game is moving quickly here. Both players know exactly what they're trying to do, and they're trying to take advantage of that as soon as possible. We'll have to see if it matters a whole lot. We do have the opportunity of the Occlute play here on a turn one play for the Kojo player that's going to get a boost from the Haven as well as itself. So it will be able to hit two of the cards here for the Finn player. And then potentially, if they have some other way to boost later on, it'll be even better. Does look like they decided to go with the Twinkle Twinkle and the Inkcaster. Not bad decisions, especially since I don't know if there's anything quite yet that the Finn wants to be able to anchor. Obviously, doesn't want to be the Inkcaster. They do have 5 mana to work with in 3 cards, so they definitely could be doing something there. But it doesn't seem like they found quite yet what they want to. And you know what? An Anansi is not a bad one to decide to anchor if that's the route they decide to go with. It is enough to block at the moment. So it will be dead even on the tumult if nothing else changes, but there is still 2 mana left for the Finn. They will pass. Okay, so we will be even. The Finn is able to work around the Occlute turn 1 play and essentially loses no resources between the idea of getting the Inkcaster return here, as well as being able to anchor that Anansi through the use of the support ability of the Mad Hatter. Do get a nice little Martingale on a resupply. Not a bad card to see in a resupply. It has the support ability, and if you just want to play it for the one cost, it's not bad either. But it looks like we're going to see a double cost reduction here into a not sure what. Oh, a unique Kodama. Let's take a look at that. It is 3/2, 4/2, 3 in stats. Reserve abilities, I gain a sleep, and then hand abilities, this I draw a card. Nice little smooth card there. Not many things to look at, and just does enough. Wonder what the Normally, when you get that gain of sleep ability, there's some more benefit to it, but I guess the stats itself are pretty good for 2 cost. Ugh. We're in the thick of it here in Swiss round 4 of this Altered Weekly Online League Season 3, Wednesday Weekly number 13, and another Twinkle Twinkle hits the board. Big card, lot of Lyra setup for Twinkle Twinkle these days. Sleep as a mechanic in general has been doing work, it seems like lately. Interesting decide they go with the boost the side of, the hero or throwing things down on the hero side, and they even boost up the Haven bouncer this time around. Interesting. Maybe setting up for the next day? Gonna bring out the Fire Rabbit as well, this time giving the boost to the Chiron? And another Twinkle Twinkle, and technically another one can be played now, especially with that, and that's probably looking like a 2-0 here for the Finn, unless the Kojo has something special here for 2 mana, which I don't know if they will. Oop, Duel of Grit may do it, though. Dual grit is a good one to hit. Will hit that Anansi. Um, the Finn will be able to stop in advance if they want to here, but I almost would have rather saved it. Let your opponent one for one here. Oh, they have another card, and they're just going to play the actual card itself to get the water stats, which surprisingly enough does not exist over here on the Kojo. Water knocking out Bravos once again. Good old fashioned will o' the wisp that we don't get to see a lot from hand either. So GG's to both players. Fun little play there from Sarcasm. They get the GG, had the exact plan that they wanted to mapped out, and were able to beat out the Kojo player who did have a nice little response there in the dual threat. All right, we're watching Swiss round four at the moment. I have been Blue Oak TV. Hashtag ad. Be sure to check out my recent reveal video. It's been awesome. People say they love it. They say it's possibly the best reveal video anyone's ever seen. And you know what? I can't disagree. Oh, getting a lot of water everywhere. Pick that up. Anyway, let's take a look at some more games, right? All right. What do we got? What do we got? Um, maybe table 13. Why not? Give Gus another chance to try to win with a horrible hero. Switch on over. Kojo versus Sabash. Sabash did have the lead. Now it's even. I mean, yeah. Only one card in reserve though, so resource is not looking ideal for the Sabash player either. And guess the bus. Maybe they should have cast it instead. Just kidding. I don't know. Sorry, that was loud, everyone. Um, they'd be down to 2 cards here, so probably not looking ideal, especially with on a Buddha turn. We're more than likely gonna be seeing a 2-0 advance here from the, Kojo player, which, I'm sure Guess was not intending. Trying to decide on mana, though. We are in Gus big decision here for Gus. Not sure if they have any card draw or what they're running in this deck for any resources. The 6 mana is not an ideal place to stop as far as, trying to save resources, and they're gonna decide to do it. Wow. So it means they don't have anything that's gonna be able to build resources here, it seems like here. They're gonna use the mana. They're gonna show their hand a little bit here with the, Armor Jammer, maybe assuming that the Kojo player was gonna play it anyway and they wouldn't be able to get it off. They do have the ability to utilize the, Grims, have it sacrificed here, but they decided to play the Jammer right away, so it makes me think that they don't have anything else to play other than these Grims. Even if they had some even with something in their hand, so not looking really too good at the moment. They do have that brass bug out from the ability to be able to not give away a free advance on the companion sign with the Buddha, but, 7 mana left, it doesn't look like they'll be able to do much stopping other than that. Even more resources, ooh, but not the card you wanna see resupplied into there. Always want a character, but we've seen kinda like the reduction of landmarks and permanents in the, Bravo stacks lately. Interesting that they decided to go with the Haven though, especially since knowing that they could be sabotaged. It doesn't look like they have anything much more than this, and Gus is gonna pass. We'll have to beat the 6 stats. Otherwise, it's just a one for one, and honestly, I expected, a better opportunity here for the Kojo player. But they, Gus on the sub ash may have been able to make it work. We'll have to see if that's going to be the end all be all. Still waiting for the Kojo player to make a choice here, and they are going to throw out a card. Kind of just thinking of like, hey, do I do this? I'll lose the ability to sabotage, but I'll have a card in reserve. So I'll have 3 counters on the mess and have an ability to have to play something from reserve as a whole to activate that Haven. So not a bad choice. Not an amazing one either. I don't know what they're waiting for past that though. Ugh, sorry for the yawn. I just haven't checked chat in a bit. Anyone there? No, no one's there. Well, if anyone is in chat, let me know you're live. I'll miss you. Happy that you're able to join. We're having a fun little conversation earlier. Any fun topics anyone wants to go over? Anyone want to say why? Who's the worst faction and why? And why is it still Muna? I don't think it will be once we hit Skybound though, but currently it definitely is. I don't think there's any denying that Muna is the worst faction. Just like Axiom was the worst faction last set, I feel like in comparison. What was the worst faction in Beyond the Gates? Um, I don't think what the worst faction in Beyond the Gates though is. See, I mean, I don't even think. I guess Ortis is in a good spot. I don't think Ortis has never been like uniformly. I mean, they've had some really high highs on individual heroes, but I don't think they've ever been uniformly having all 3 heroes playable at a competitive level, right? Whereas I feel like that is the case with Bravos right now. Maybe not with as much of a peak as Ortis has had, but still pretty even. I'm trying to think of like the worst card in the season 1 meta with Beyond the Gates. Or not worst card, worst faction. Was it Axiom then too? Probably, right? No, Trace was good then. That was a peak traced Haven meta, right? After Waru got nerfed. So it was an Axiom, not Lyra, because Finn was popular to deal with Waru. I don't think Bravos was. Maybe Bravos was, because this was before they got card draw. I think Kojo was popular, but I don't think it ever did well. No, there was a good Basira. I remember Basira placed well in one event, and there were good Kojos. So no, that wasn't Bravos. I don't think it was Muna because that was still at the height of like reoccurring anchoring Muna, and it was hard to deal with. Don't think it was Ysmir. I don't think it was Cordis. Yeah, I don't know what the was it just Axiom because all they had was Trace? I don't know. And then you could say the same thing for Lyra because they didn't really have any. I mean, the Venka was there, but no one really played it other than on occasion. So I guess you could say it for Lyra. And you could also say the same thing for Muna too, because it's never been anything outside of um, Tasia. It seems like never, not Bravos, not Izmir, not there. I don't know. Worst faction. Yeah, I guess I would have to say Lyra in season 1. Yeah, I think so. Which is rough because I don't think that's necessarily true, but I can't think of anything else. Either way, Tomo goes in 7 mana orbs. If you control one or more landmarks, you may discard target character with hand cost or less. Nice discard ability there for 4 costs. And it has good stats too at 613. So It's a fun Tomogozen. Good little unique card. So we never saw, like, really any winners from Lyra, did we, in season 1? Like, Finn was popular because of Woru, but after that, I feel like kinda fell away. I think it was good, I just don't think we saw, like, very many winners because of Woru. Yeah, the more I think about it, I mean, I think I have to say Lyra as far as worst faction in season 1. Wow. Didn't see that coming. Nice little roll there. I do like, a good old-fashioned data list. I wish, it was played more in Bravos. That is one card I wish was played more in Bravos. I tried to make it work. We do see the Kojo take the victory, though. Guess the bus taking another loss. Trying to make Sub Ash work, and you can't just make Sub Ash work, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think season 1 was the hardest one to decide, Erlea. I do agree season 2 Axiom is obvious, and I feel like season 3 Muna is obvious. Um, but season 1 was a little bit harder because, Lyra did have that initial boon of being the Waru counter, quote unquote, right? Even though I don't think it really was, I just think people preferred to play it in that sense. But yeah, I think the more I think about it, it had to have been the worst. Because I don't think it was Axiom because it had Trace then, and I don't think it was Bravos because Bravos still had some victories and did well despite not having card draw. And don't think it was Muna because Muna was still doing good with anchoring uniques, and definitely not Ortis and definitely not Ysmir. So um, yeah, that kind of just leaves Lyra, right? But that was one of the that one's a little bit more. I could see someone putting up in a debate for something else, but I don't think there's really any debate for season 2 or season 3. It is Axiom and it was Axiom and it is Muna. Period. Still 1 or 2 more games left here in Swiss round 4 of the Altered Weekly Online League, season 3, Wednesday weekly. We'll see if we'll be able to catch the end of them. Does look like this one just ended. I'll let you just take a look at it. Trace beat the Navenka, who is running a Eat Me energy bar. That's fun. So we'll head back here. I think that means there's just one game left to play, and if not, we'll head to Swiss round 5. Not, oh, there is one at the bottom. We at the bottom table. Oh, it's a goal ring. But they're yet they're mana thing, so they should be able to ramp up here. They are ahead though, so they may not get stuff initially. Ooh, and we have an Asmodeus. That's a fun card. It's a little unique Navenka. Good for them. Um, I mean, Trace had that run at the end, right? With the Haven. And then obviously once Waru got nerfed, the Afanis was prevalent. I don't think it was just Sigismar and Waru. I felt like Sigismar didn't really get its wings until Afanis was relevant. I feel like Sigismar. I mean, Sigismar is consistent, but I don't think Sigismar has ever been like it's never been a Waru, for example, right? It's never been a Waru and it's never been a Faunus. It's been good against a Faunus, but and it is consistent, but I don't think it's ever been as peak, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong and I could be biased, but I feel like Sigismar gets a lot of more default hate because of the hero ability. But I think season 1, um, is, was more than just those 2. Trace was prevalent, obviously, like I said, and I think, Afanis was at the end of it. I mean, Afanis was good at the beginning of it too. There was a few people like Skycrier that did quite well. Drill Mole, unique. A lot of text. I'll let you read it. You may spin one counter, sabotage. At dusk, if you control 2 or more permanents, draw a card. And from hand, you may discard a card from your reserve. If you do, create Norris Recruit in each of your expeditions. So, still a pretty cool one. I honestly thought Lear was going to be better in Whispers after seeing some of the cards. Kind of disappointed that it wasn't. I mean, I think we saw some good decks come out of it. Some players making Navinka work, some players obviously making Finn work now. I think Finn is a good counter to the meta that's developed, where we had Trace getting really popular after a Faunus nerf, or even during a Faunus, and then a lot of Faunus players switching to Trace, and then we saw the prevalence of Basira because of Trace, and then we saw the prevalence now of Finn because of Basira. And honestly, I like that balance. I think we had something similar in season 2 between, whatchamacallit, Afanis, Sigismar into Afanis, and Kojo into Sigismar, I felt was pretty decent. Oh, yeah, for sure, Leah, I agree. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, that's why we see the the laziness in the terms of, like, anytime something wins, we see a resurgence in those decks. I mean, not to say that it's because of it, but we've seen a lot more Finn lately. Same way we saw a lot more Trace when that did well, and we saw a lot more Basira once Basira won. So, definitely agree with you there. I mean, we're still seeing the meta develop, and we're almost at the end of the season. Finn wasn't popular. They had the players who liked Finn, and that was about it. I was hoping Break the Ice would be better as well, or at least used more. That was one of those cards I was talking about earlier where I wish was played more. I think the other ones I mentioned were things like, Silent Night. Is that a card, or did I just make that up? And X Marks the Spot was a card I wish was played more. Like, I think there's a lot of options. I think there is some laziness, and the problem is that once someone sees something that works, why venture too far outside of that if you're not sure? Because everyone just wants to win, right? And if they know this deck can win, why mess with it that much? Oh, I did make it up, Gus? Okay, cool. Making sure. I did that, for Lost in the Woods for a while. I was calling it something else for a bit. I don't remember what it was, but I had in my mind, I knew what it was, but I was calling it a different card. Maybe I'm still calling it a different card, I'm not sure. Unique Trickster, you may put a card in your hand in reserve, blah, blah, blah. And at dusk, if I want more boosts, anchor. Okay, cool. Not to toot my own horn, but the reason everyone plays Bureaucrats and Sigismar is because I had a good result in Exalt Celebration, and another Exalt soon followed that made another top cut. I do remember that meta shift. Oh, Floppy Frog wins it on time. I do remember that meta shift where post Waru and Sigismar was not using bureaucrats, and then all of a sudden people started using bureaucrats. Like, hey, uh, Tourney's actually pretty good in any Ortis deck. Hey, the Got's pretty good in any Ortis deck. Um, so that was the one time. So the one time you played Sigismar in the celebration or in a big event, you influenced the meta so heavily. Congrats, Erlea. Meta definer here, even when they don't like the Ortis gameplay. Yeah, I definitely remember that shift, and I didn't see it coming either, but I saw like, "Oh, people are using bureaucrats in Sigismar now. It's weird. You don't get the effect from it. Hey, wait, they're just actually good." We're into the Swiss round 5 at this point. This will be the second to the last round, so we'll take a look at the top, setup here. We have 3 undefeated players between Zarkasm, Amethyst Rock, and, After You, Ambruza. I think we watched Amethyst Rock and Sarcasm before. I don't know if we've watched Banish Pacuti, so let's go and watch them with Imbruza and Table 2. Switch over here in a second, and I'll look at chat. Okay, it is a card. Okay, well, you tried to lie to me. I wish I didn't looking back. Hey, someone would have figured it out eventually, right, Orlea? Like, there's always some I mean, yes, a lot of everyone is just cookie cutter, but there's a good amount of people who find a way and create new decks. How do you figure Afanis made the way for Bravos to start shining? Oh, you mean the nerf or just Afanis as a meta pick? I feel like Sigismar benefited most off of the Afanis meta. I do think Bravos played well into Sigismar played the best in the Sigismar comparatively for a non Afanis deck. Well, yeah, the French Canadian experience. Obviously, that's the case. That's what happens any other time. But we did see the inkling of Trace being prevalent even during the Afanis meta. And then once everyone figured that out, they're like, well, at least we have something else to go to now. And we get a Basira and Tasia matchup. And then based off of that, we saw Basira do well against Trace. And now we've seen Finn do well against Basira. Basira, honestly, I mean, Finn, honestly, is just a solid kind of reinvention of Afanis with the way it's played now. Picking up cards, drawing cards, wait until the last minute. Only thing it's missing is getting a boost every single time it does something, right? Just need to buff in. All right, let me switch over here to not the B right back screen to the gameplay screen so you can watch. Like I mentioned, Basira versus Teha. Currently dead even on the tumult. But with the so in the 5 same decks between Warrior's Nerf and Afanis' Nerf playing a musical chair game. I don't think they're the same decks. I think they're similar heroes. I don't think the same decks. I think they're played differently. There's different cards. Trace has definitely had a resurgence for sure. I think the introduction of new cards has definitely. I mean, no one found Goldring as relevant, and I think Goldring's at least relevant now. Same thing with Itzadi. So I don't think it's a complete recycle. I do agree with you in the sense of Trace, Sigismar, um, Kojo, but I don't think Basira is always relevant. I think they had an occasional like shooting star day, but I don't think it was always relevant. Um, what else? Lyra, Finn's been there, but hasn't always been on the top. Navenka has had its shining star days. Don't need to say anything about Aurak. Tasia, it's always been just pretty much that's it for Muna. Oh, you're talking about card breakdown? Yeah, no, I agree. Beyond the Gates is still high. But yeah, it should be fun to see what new heroes can do. I'll be excited to see if anyone peaks higher than the others. I do think the Beyond the Gates thing though is also just relative to set size too, and what we were talking about earlier for power level creep, not creep, but it's initial power level because it's not creeping if it was always there. Um, Get some good Blade Dancer play into some good Alavera play. Blade Dancer is a card that was kind of popular earlier on, but kind of went away, and now people are using it a lot more in Basira. I never liked it too much in Basiro, and I was always like using the common just to initiate the boost triggers. But I've seen a lot of good Basira utilizing the rare Blade Dancer and not necessarily needing the rare slots elsewhere. So I'm 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 getting used to it more. I like it. Olivera's never gone away though. Olivera's always been there and will always be there for all of us. Ooh. I would almost consider a Finn an outlier T2 in that list that you just mentioned. I don't think Finn's ever actually been the top dog, or at least considered one, in my opinion. There's been players that like Finn. I feel like people see a lot of potential in Finn, but I don't think it's ever been the top one. I think you have the correct list though there with Siggy, Trace, Kojo, Afanis. And honestly, I don't even ever think Kojo was the top dog because of the higher levels of Siggy, Trace, and Afanis, to be honest. But I do think Kojo is really good, and you could consider it there on that top of the list, not in the tier 2 decks. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's always the possibility of a deck doing well, right? Um, and finding a way to do something that's just right in a specific tournament, but doesn't mean they're completely viable now. Like, I think a lot of Yuzmir players like playing, or instead of playing Faunus, play Akesha now, but I don't think it's a meta decision yet until someone figures out a way to do it. Indeed, right? Um, I also think Lindaway can be good the same way that Finn can be good, but no one's really found a consistent way to do it yet. I mean, there's the resupply Lindaways, but I, I mean that's just based around like a unique trick. Um, but yeah, for the most part, I agree. I think there's some caveats here or there. I do think we've seen Basira find its way into the meta though, and I'm happy about it because I was honestly going into this season, I was feeling like Basira was better. So I'm happy that it's come to prevalence. Um, I was hoping Navenka would get more play, and after I saw it do well in Lille, I thought that might be the case, but I don't think that's the case anymore. Um, I wish Sierra would get more play, but I just don't think it's worth it to play Sierra in comparison to Trace, for example. Um, Same thing with Ren and Orchid, but I think even that's fringe. I think Sierra and um Navenka are more relevant than Ren and Orchid. And other than that, obviously I'd like to see Waru back, but I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. We had that one player that did well in the top, that made top cut for the EUBG online qualifier, but I don't think that's going to be consistent enough. I wish Akesha was better. That's for sure. So if like I had to pick 3 that I wish that, could break into the meta or some would figure out better, I wish Kesha, Sierra, and Nevenka. Those would be my 3 that seem like they could do something but haven't quite done it yet. The other ones, I'm sure they could do something, I just don't think it's as possible at the moment with the current cards. I mean, they could've, but I think with a new game, you have to give as many you should do what you can with those options, right? I know a lot of the times when when doing the initial, like, learn to plays, when you say 18, they're like, "Wow, really?" So maybe it was a bit much, but I don't think 6 would have been enough. Maybe 12. I don't know. Maybe 12 and then give yourself the option to introduce the other heroes in the first 3 sets. That might have been better. I think I actually would have preferred that. 12 of the existing heroes and then do what they're and then doing, like, 2, 4, 6 in the next 3 sets to get to 18. And then just always introduce that many heroes every set, 2 heroes per set, and cover the faction over the course of a year. Um, let's see, but them's just thoughts. Axiom Salvager from hand if you control 2 or more boosted characters. Resupply at dusk if you control 2 or more boosted characters. Draw a card. Good son. Yeah, because I mean, the biggest thing I saw from people was when I was doing learn to plays is like, oh, is the next set getting a new hero? And I was always like, no, I don't think so, or no, or maybe set 4, right? And so it might have been better that way. Honestly, think I might have preferred that, but I don't know because it did show some preference to some heroes in some sets, right? Like, well, I think Trial by Frost was meant to be somewhat of a Waru set kinda thing, but it obviously turned into just a Sigismar set with Rallying Call. But yeah, do you think we are gonna get more than 6 heroes this year? You mean as far as, like, just from Skybound? You mean, like, more for following sets? Is that what you mean? Basir currently in the lead here. I didn't get to take a look at the unique Esmeralda yet. 32013 in stats. You may put a card from your hand in reserve. If you do, resupply when a character you control gains 1 or more boosts up to 1 target character. Oh, it's a mass anchor. That's cool. And then we get a unique Blade Dancer. I have season when another character joins your expeditions if I control 2 or more boosted character. Oh, this is the same one we saw earlier. Yeah, we saw Imbruce play this earlier. It's a cool one. Fun unique art too on the Bravos Blade Dancer. French Canadian experience. If your question is if you think we're going to get more heroes than just the 6 for the full year, I think so. I don't. I don't think they're going to make us wait another full year with just 6 new heroes. I think they kind of realized that the idea of people always asking for more new heroes is what people want to see, and they want options to change things other than just new cards. Or at least I'm hoping that would be the case. How many they'll do per set, I don't think it's going to be like another 6 heroes per new set. But I think there's a possibility of getting more heroes throughout the year. I don't think they're gonna make us wait another full year without heroes, is I guess is what I'm saying, other than the 6 that we're getting from Skybound. And 2 more uniques here in the reserve for Tasia. Looks like, Mass Anchor as well, and, yep, just a bunch of Mass Anchoring happening here for the Tasia player. Yeah, no, I think we'll definitely see at least some. I think that goes with the process of learning how things work. I think they got a lot of I don't think they got a lot of complaints, so I think they got more of a, like, "Oh, really? No new heroes?" type of thing after each set, so I think they'll wanna do that. Yeah, no. If they don't do 6 per set, wouldn't it make it unbalanced for some factions and card support? I mean, I guess it's just depending on how they build out the sets. I think there's ways that they can build out the sets where it won't be unbalanced. And plus you're gonna run into balance issues with some factions being better than others regardless of if you add heroes or not. So, I don't think it's gonna cause an unfair advantage if they don't do full 6. I just don't think that they'll be able to do a full 6 each time. Because there's a reason why they did a full 6 this time, and it was after a little bit of a break, but they had to make the sets bigger. And I don't think they wanna make a bigger set every single time just to do 6 heroes. Or at least that makes sense to me, and that they would just do partials and try to fill it out throughout the year. Again, though, that's what I was describing as far as what they could have done year 1, but I don't think it's worked out negatively. I think it would have been fun, though, like, getting to see I don't know, like, I don't really think it's Saudi was necessary in season 1, for example. If they could have done without it Saudi, they could have done without, they could have done without Sierra, to be honest, but the Sierra was a starter deck, so you couldn't do that, so they could have done without Subash. They could have done without I don't know, but they're planning on doing more than just those. That means that they would have to skip another set if they plan to do more than, if they unless they were doing more than 6 heroes for the full year. I don't know. With the way the release schedule is planning out, I guess it could work that way, and they just skip a set. They do 3, 3, and skip. I don't know. And, mass anchoring is coming to light here. Can the Basira still win? It's gonna be hard. They're gonna try, though. But yeah, which heroes would I have gotten rid of? I would have gotten rid of Subash, Vitsati, um, who would have I gotten rid of in there? Orak is an obvious one. Uh, Rin, maybe? Golrang, and I guess that leaves Lindaway. Yeah, I would have gotten rid of those if we're talking about not doing the full 18 heroes on release. Lindaway, Golrang, Rin and Orchid, um, Orak, Itsadi, Subash. I think they could have gotten rid of on the initial release. I still don't think obviously we got enough Subash support, so it may not have worked, but I think they could have gotten rid of Subash. Or maybe even Trace. So that way Haven Bravos Bastion didn't work so well with it and just have because I like the mechanic of Subash as far as like creating brass bugs was relevant to season 1. So maybe Traced, then deal with the Haven issue later. Yeah, I'm gonna change my mind. Traced, Itsadi, um, Aurak, even though you don't really get a lot of support with that later, but they kind of tried. Um, Rin and Orchid. And the reason why I'm saying Rin and Orchid over Arjun is because I think having the ability to expand off of Rin and Orchid later would have been fun. Uh, and then obviously Goal Ring, 'cause I don't think it was relevant enough for the first sets. And then Linda Way, which I don't think is that still as relevant, but it did get kind of some sacrifice support later on. But yeah, 6 for Skybound and then 3 and 3. Yeah, I know what you meant, French Canadian experience. I just think so Skybound's in October and then we're gonna go into um quarterly system again. So if we have 3 would be 3 sets, March, June, I don't know, 3 to 4 sets next year, then would they be able to do 3 and 3? Or would they go 3 gap, 3 gap? I think that would make more sense, but I don't know. Um, the Seer are able to fend off the anchoring a little bit, but now they're gonna have to deal with a lot of stats on the board, and even if they're able to get to 1 advance, they'll have to go to a tiebreaker, and I don't think that they can win a tiebreaker. And Bruza looks to be wanting to maybe give this one up. Can't blame 'em. I think so, personally. I think 6 heroes a year would be just right. I think if you start doing more than that, you start given way too many options when nobody's figured anything out. Like earlier said earlier, like the current setup for people is that they don't do enough experimenting anyway. So why introduce more options when we haven't even figured out the current ones? Like we're still figuring out some stuff, even going into the end of year one, and then introducing more heroes that we still haven't figured out for the others. I'll do 6 heroes for the first set of the year, then 3 and 3, and so each year it would be 12 heroes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's a bad idea. I guess I would introduce the idea of having one big set with all heroes and then one half set and then 2 half sets. I don't think that'd be cool. Yeah, I do think we'll need to hit a rotation at some point. I do think it's still early now to do a rotation of sets and or heroes. I think we're more likely to do a set rotation though than a hero rotation anytime soon, but we'll see. Imbruza has the unique Ozma out, which is a solid card. I just don't think that there's much they can do with all 3 of their anchoring uniques out. Yeah, French Canadian experience, I think that would be a cool setup, I think. 6, 3, and 3. And then I think I'd prefer a set rotation rather than a hero rotation. Till we get too many heroes, I guess. Eventually, I guess we could rotate some out, but for the most part, I'd rather do a set rotation. I'll be curious to see what happens once Beyond the Gates actually does get rotated out. I imagine it'll have to happen at some point just to see what people can do with a set that's been so prevalent. I do think we're more likely to rotate like Trial by Frost out than we would ever like if we wanted some variation, rotate that out. But then that would just mean that Beyond the Gates becomes more relevant. So probably can't do that. Oh, you prefer the hero rotation, or Leia, huh? I don't know. If they did a hero rotation, I'd want them to do it after they took out Beyond the Gates. I just want Beyond the Gates to have a rotation out of the meta. I want to see what can happen with multiple sets that are not Beyond the Gates. Yeah, I agree with you. Um, I don't know. I don't think Beyond honestly, if we're talking tribal stuff, I'm just disappointed how hard Waru got nerfed. It would have been fun to expand off of bureaucrat stuff more. But yeah, I get what you mean. I think they tried with artists, and unfortunately, it didn't work. I think they did a little bit recently, obviously, with animals that I don't think is working quite yet. They tried with plants. which kinda works, but doesn't exactly work. Um, I do think there should be more dragon support. That would be cool. I just want more dragons in general. Um, what else is there? We can just look on the board. I don't think we're gonna get trainer support, noble support. Noble would be a cool one. Like noble and soldier kind of thing. Like a whole human archetype would be cool. Um, spirit would be cool. Deity support would be cool. Maybe not deity because maybe they're considered too powerful, but something along that line, right? Yeah, I don't know. No, I agree earlier. I think they just tried to do something and it just doesn't work as well yet. I don't think anything has worked quite as well as Waru bureaucrats has. I wish I still wish that there was half of the Waru bureaucrat left because I don't think it was that busted after Robin Hood. I mean, I still think it would have been good. Don't get me wrong. I just think it needed half the nerf. I'm partial to forcing sleep and keeping the token, but I know some people who don't care about the token and they don't like forcing sleep. Yeah. I agree with you on the dragons and deities. I'm not as big of an artist fan, I guess. I do like Lyra. I've been I guess I've been a little bit underwhelmed with the existing artist support. But I think it would be cool to have something like a noble and soldier class support type of thing, the same way they have noble for Ozma, and have it focused around like Bravos and um Ortis card, especially with cards like Dual Grit. Probably need that earlier to deal with all these anchorings, by the way. um but they put themselves in a pretty good spot to maybe take that side, depending on what the Tasia has. What other subtypes are there? That would be cool. But definitely dragons, definitely deities. I mean, because deities is like a main thing for me that I like about Altered is finding all the like the historical deities and stuff. Um, I don't know. Trainer is such a weird sub archetype for Chiron though. Like, is there another trainer? Yeah, robots. Robots is an interesting one because it seemed like they wanted to do robot support in season one, and they just never. And everyone's like, "But there's only one robot." But now there's a little bit, right? Now you can finally use things that give additional boosts. You have a bunch of robots now, so it's a little bit better now. Ooh, hit with the beauty sleep. That's a good card to hold on to. Might have been enough for the Basir to take it, but now I think we're looking at the come from behind victory here for the Tasia. And they will get it. Good game. That was a fun little fifth round matchup here on the top table. Basir is still almost finding a way to take the victory over the triple unique play, but couldn't quite get there. Oh, Kappa is a trainer as well? Yeah, I think that's a weird subtype. I'm not I don't know if they're ever gonna do anything with that. Just seems like an odd one, like, how would you integrate trainer? Like, I'm sure there's other trainers that you could get in, like, mythology, but it seems weird. Either way, that was a fun game as we banter about random altered things. We are currently in the Swiss we were into round 6, but we just used that entire time on Swiss round 5. Oh, boy. Top table, Swiss round 6. One undefeated player in Amethyst Rock, so we'll give them their due here. Top table, Amethyst Rock and Dulcis. We'll see who can take it. Yeah, I wish Kappa was played more too. That'd be fun. Honestly, it'd just be cool to see like, some other deities or in different things from other religions and historical stuff. I still wonder when we're gonna see We haven't seen Thor yet. We've seen that art of Thor and Achilles since forever. We still haven't seen Thor. Be cool. I wanna see Thor. Feel like it's guaranteed to be Bravos, but I still wanna see Thor. Oh, sorry. I'd be curious if they do, like, actual ancient Norse Thor or if they try to cater more towards, like, modern Thor with, like, hammer spinning and flying. In case anyone didn't know, um, Thor actually flew with goats, which they did get right in the 3rd Thor movie, I guess. Goats were important to Thor. And let's switch over to gameplay. Um, yeah. Let's adventure is another weird one. Elemental. That's another one I'd like to see more of. Elementals would be cool. I want to see like an elemental set. That would be awesome. Like obviously we've had like gins a lot, but I don't think we've had an elemental support, right? I think that would be cool. I also think like animal spirit's a little bit too specific. They should have just kept it as a spirit, but maybe they have an idea. So does it count as an animal and a spirit as far as support? I don't think so, right? Should be one or the other. I don't know. But elemental would be cool. I'm gonna put that on my list. Okay, earlier it'll be dragons, deities, elementals. That's what I want to see. That's what I want. Getting to the game here. Traced and Kojo talking about a meta. Not too surprised to see these folks here. Mm, script. Oh, I need to organize cards. But I gotta do something else after this too. For the weekend. Hey, if anyone hasn't isn't aware, Asia qualifier this weekend. Actually, Friday evening for all the North American folks. Saturday morning for EU, more like midnight, but join it. Hosted by A.W.O.L right here on this channel. Be a good time. So we're looking at if Amethyst Rock is able to take this game, they will be the victor here for the A.W.O.L Season 3 Wednesday Weekly number 13. If not, we'll go into a BGA tiebreaker if Dulcis is able to take it. Be the first time we've had a US winner here in a bit too. If Dulcis can maybe win this one, we'll at least have a chance. Currently behind though. It doesn't look like they're getting double advance this time around, so not looking ideal. I'm sorry again. But Trace doesn't have anything in reserve and only one card, so they've utilized a lot of resources. And the Kojo player is setting themselves up nicely with these havens. So they're able to utilize this, and they're able to set themselves up with some sabotage maybe for the Trace in the following turns. They might not be doing too bad. We'll have to see if how this one turns out. Interesting. Trace decide not to mana here at 4. It's wild. They do get a card in reserve here with the Keelan Elemental play, and it's a unique. I think this is one we saw earlier. Yep. So that'll help them get up to 4 counters here. Ooh, Eruption. That's a good one. Especially with the mana advantage. Be curious to decide if they decide to use it here or not. just some good card draw. No wonder the Trace didn't want a mana. They needed the elemental to set up their unique, and they needed the unique to set up the salvager. So the only thing they could have really maned here was the unique potentially. But yeah, still 3 mana left though for the Gojo. So they definitely could go over the top here and get a double advance, but not necessarily guaranteed. Ooh, spy's a good one, but that will allow Trace to trigger ability. It does set them up pretty well for the next turn though, and that should even up things a little bit on the tumult. So not a bad spot for the Kojo at the moment. They will have to start dealing with the infinite resources of Trace though here now. Trace deciding if they want to use the ability here and activate the Elon Elemental here to get an advance. Elon Cylinder on the Elon Elemental. I guess they could activate it on the other side too. Just depends on what side they want to advance on. Okay, so they want to get off of the individual mountain rather than individual forest. Interesting. Especially since they would have that elemental next turn, you think they would want to use it on the mountain instead of leaving on the forest. Maybe they thought they were going to hit the water? I don't know. Interesting choice. We are going into a Kojo turn though. Be curious to see if they did hit another sabotage. Keep in mind the Traced is low on mana. They decided not to mana that last day, so yeah, they're gonna have to do it here. They will have the Traced ability. They decided not to use it last turn though. We get the immediate use of the Spy from reserve. Get a good amount of stats on the board. Ooh, nice Grimm's play. That'll knock out a Haven if they so choose. Well, a good amount of stats here for the Kojo player. They also still have that removal coming out of the mana eruption. Oh, so we're likely going to see that elemental pop up somewhere. More than likely on that hero side with the individual water. We'll get a physical training coming out here for the Kojo player. Get a little bit of card draw, get to boost things up a little bit. I will be curious to see if they decide to keep that or the mana eruption because I feel like they have to keep the Pathfinder for play from reserve. So not sure which one they'll want to keep here. We do see the Amelia Earhart come out because they want to advance on the companion side. Use the cylinder, but that'll put their cylinder down to 0. I don't know if I'm liking the decisions here from the Trace, to be honest. Like, it's keeping them up, but I don't know. Maybe they have an idea of what they wanna do as far as which trains to stay on, but haven't liked the decisions quite as much. Despite getting a early lead and having the resource advantage with getting the Traced online, so we'll see how it works out for them. They also made that early decision not to mana, which is also an oddity. Whereas they are trying to keep up on the mana now. We did get the physical training discarded away by the Kojo, opting to keep the removal, which is probably more relevant here, especially nearing the end of the game. Haven comes out. Be curious to see if they actually decide to use the eruption for a permanent here in the Haven, maybe. Probably not, but solid play here, hitting the elemental. I almost would have preferred to hit the box and the frozen delivery just to give them less resources, but I guess you gotta run into it anyway with, the trace at some point. A lot of resources for the trace, but they're not getting a lot of stats, which the Kojo definitely has. And this is the problem that we saw in Traced initially from them when they lost the Haven ability to be used regularly. But hitting a lot of good cards. The can always trigger itself in the sap sniffers. They could also try to dig for more, but I think they're just gonna try to play for a one-off here, yeah. Um, and there's still an eruption. So they're trying not to boost anything too much because they know they have to deal with the eruption. But they also have to deal with all the stats on the board. So they are going to trigger here for the sap sniffer, and they're going to have to just split the boost. They can't. They have to put it on the sniffer. So we're going to get an eruption on the sniffer. The second sap sniffer is not going to be able to boost itself. And I think we may just be looking at a Kojo victory because of it, just without kind of like the misplay from the trace, which means that we're going to get a BGA tiebreaker decider here if Dulcis is able to take this victory. Yeah, I don't think Trace can do anything here. Unfortunate. I think there was a few different misplays, to be honest. But yeah, we'll get the victory for the Kojo. Congrats. We'll see if they're able to take the overall win in the tournament based off of this. Congratulations to Dulcis. We'll head on back, see where we are in the Swiss round six. This has been the Altered Weekly Online League, AWOL Season 3, Wednesday Weekly 13. I have been Blue Bloke TV. Check out my YouTube. I just did a reveal of a card for Skybound that everyone loved. People say that it is possibly the best reveal of all time. And you know what? I can't disagree. You know, you could even check out Sakura Blue over here. That was part of the video. Either way, it does look like we have a game or two still left. That one went fairly quickly. By a game or two, I mean all of them. uh, we may as well take a look at one of the other top tables. I feel like we watch them a lot. So table 3, maybe? Saw Sargasm once. I don't think we've seen Telecanoons. Not sure. We'll see. Oh, we haven't, because it's an Aurak. We haven't seen an Aurak. And we come just in time for a Mind Apotheosis. Big play, big play. With a Hydrocena and a Bliss fan of a unique, when a character in your reserve gains one or more boosts, you may give target character fleeting. You may give target fleeting character one boost when I go to the reserve from the expedition zone, roll a die, draw a card for plus, and then from reserve, exchange a card. Whew, that's a lot. That's fun though. Got to see a Mind Apotheosis. Don't get to see that a lot. And this player's doing well enough that they're at a top table, so they may have the option to take this tournament. Get an Aurak top placing. But something gets hit with the Requiem. Still plenty of mana though for the Fen player. See what they decide to do with this here. Auric does have the option to hit that fifth counter with any play, and they will just go ahead and throw down a Mighty Gin. Wonder if the Finn has any removal for that Hydrocena, especially since it has fleeting. Maybe a Clock Cocoon? I don't know. Hathor is a good start. Weird that they decide to play that. Oh, and they're going to Sap to Winde. Okay, so that makes sense. Sap to Winde, a card that has come in clutch in the previous weekend here. So, fun card. That will allow that 2-0 advance there. Didn't really see that initially. I was wondering why they didn't play the Anansi, but they found a way. Unfortunate for the Aurak, not able to get the ability of the following turn, but we got to see an Aurak, you know? That's something. Congratulations to Sarcasm. Keeping themselves in the running to win this AWOL Season 3 Wednesday Weekly, number 13. And we'll head on back, see if we have some other games we want to watch before the round wraps up. A lot of the games are nearing the end here. I don't think we've seen Imbruza a few times, but I don't think we've seen Iron Chains. I don't think we saw Aragorn either. So let's go to table 5. I think we've seen Imbruza a little bit more. So sorry, 2 Iron Chains. Um, Gameplay. Looks like we're coming in right at the end though as well for this one. And it looks like, yeah, Aklo able to get the victory on this one for one. Able to sleep a bunch of characters despite some good amount of anchoring going on here for Aragorn, and another Finn victory. All right, what else do we got? Few more games left to be played. Oh, let's take a look at a low table. I don't care. Ooh, Lindaway. I didn't get to see the Lindaway player. Lindaway and Navenka. There's that Silent Night card that we haven't seen a lot of. That Gus tried to gaslight me about. I'm paying attention to you, Gus. Gets the one roll, so it'll get asleep. Probably was hoping for the anchor. Got two uniques out for the Lindaway though. Let's see what we got. When you play spell resupply, and when you may return a spell from reserve to your hand. Also, this is this a resupply Lindaway? That's fun. When you sacrifice a character, if you do sabotage, otherwise it's not. But this is a resupply Lindaway card, right? Yeah, that's a good card. Should sell it, low keeper, for $1,000. Maybe not, or some money. Does look like you're just about to win this game though, regardless. So we get a Lindaway victory here at the end as well. Glad we were able to catch it. And little pass. Get the double advance in the victory. Anchor coming up because of the trickster. Yeah. All right, back we go. Should be wrapping up here with the Swiss round 6. Will be our final round. We'll get to decide who is the winner. There was no undefeated player, so it will be down to who BGA decides. Let's wrap. We started with Erlea. Let's wrap up with Erlea. See if they're able to get a victory at the end here. Bunch of cards in reserve, as is tradition here for the Finn player. Trying to prevent the trace from stacking up too much on the one side. All they need is a double advance to take this game. They're going to throw out the contortionist. At least get one. They don't have anything else for him. We're going to go to a dead even tumult here and see who can take it in this final day. Finn versus Traced. Ooh, we're getting rid of the Anansi? What? Guess you just kinda wanna recycle the, magical training though, huh? I guess that's smart. It's just so weird seeing an Anansi go to the discard. Should've had a tech lab unit, not Erlea. Shoulda got it. Anyway, um, I go to the reserve from the expedition zone, roll a die on 4 plus, draw a card. That's a fun unique. What's another thing? Oh, no, I guess you couldn't do that, 'cause then it would require deck shuffling. No, I mean, if you go to hand, I was thinking of, like, if there'd be better ways to get cards from discard back to your hand. That would be cool. Like, we have a reserve recycling, but maybe that would be too OP, because then you wouldn't be able to you'd have too much recycling stuff. Maybe specific cards you can get back that wouldn't cause that issue. I don't know. It'd be fun. We'll get a Monster Reborn and Altered Ret. Such a fun card. Oh, what is the supportability of the chronicler? Oh, standard resupply. Okay. We get the hero ability of the trace player. Gonna throw down the support ability here of the Gibble. Gonna give something a boost. Oh, nope, they activated the, bug out bag. There you go. What do I know? Unique Trickster on the board. What does it do? When I go to the reserve, roll a die. 4 plus, yeah, another resupply. So it's just a good little one coster. Currently more resources for the Finn player on our layout. See if they're able to work it into a victory. Sure, being able to recycle that magical training would be nice. Both players down to 2 and 1 cards. Going all the way through their decks. This will probably be the last one. This last game here for Swiss Round 6 of the Altered Weekly Online League AWOL Season 3, Wednesday Weekly, number 13313. Then we'll find out who wins the whole thing. We'll go over it real quick and then wrap things up because I have things to do. I'm also hungry. So I want to get out of here. And this event's lasting longer than I expected, to be honest. I thought we were gonna wrap up quick. Yeah, right? More after use than Finn and less cards to do it somehow, right? You had more cards, still getting after you by Trace. Trace is crazy. Should just play Basira. Easy. So many stats. What are we thinking? Tiebreaker? Probably tiebreaker. Uh-oh. See Erlea calculating here. Seeing all the lines, doing the math in the head. Calculating, calculating. Trying to figure out, can they win? Gonna stack up on the companion side with the Haven Serengar. Ooh, unique Merlin. What does it do? 5/2, scout 3. If you have 2 or more cards in reserve, you may send to reserve number oh, avalanche ability. Nice. The order on that was nuts. And still exhausted resupply and give a boost if they need it, but I don't know if Erlea has what they need. 3 cards in hand. 1 trickster in reserve that I don't remember what it does. Doesn't really help them right now, other than maybe the boost? I don't know. Has to be aware that the trace can add a boost on either side. So has to be 5 stats at minimum. Needs to get 6 stats somewhere with 4 mana, or 6 stats on companion side with 4 mana. No point in contesting on the hero side. At least not that I'm aware of. See, no one was undefeated. 6th round of the Swiss that we're currently in, the undefeated player lost. So it'll be down to a VGA tiebreaker to decide which 5-1 player takes it. Does Erlea have a one-cost character they can play from hand and use the boost from the Trickster to get what they need? Nope. Don't have it. Unlucky. I'm sorry. You got out after you'd by, the trace, as is supposed to happen with Finn, I guess. Congratulations to after you won. Oh, well, 'cause their team name's after you, that's probably what got you early, yeah, that was the issue. Alright, was that the end of the Swiss round 6? It was. Wanna thank everyone that has joined us. We'll take a quick look at the results, and let's go on over to the gameplay screen. In first place, we had Amethyst Rock. So Amethyst Rock was in first place and then lost in the last round, but still ends up getting that first place tiebreaker from who ended up beating them? Dulcis beat them, so Dulcis not able to get the win despite getting that final victory. Unfortunate for them. But after Amethyst Rock will take it. Banish Pakacutie, taking second. Zarchasm, probably one of the best names on VGA and Altered, taking third. Dulcis taking fourth. After You, Aklo taking fifth. Special Builder, 32 in the sixth spot. After You, Imbruza in seventh. Shroomf in eighth. How many other things we did? Oh, I guess it doesn't really matter for any of these because they're not 5 and 1s. But yeah, we'll just give those top 8. Congratulations to Amethyst Rock for taking the whole event here for the AWOL Season 3 Wednesday Weekly number 13. Want to thank everyone that's joined the chat and hang out with us as I talk a lot more than I normally do about non-gameplay things and just talk about Altered. It was fun getting to talk with different people and getting opinions. Uh, yeah, what a finish indeed. Uh, Appreciate the commentary comment, Tristan Martin. We do our best around here. Me and Sakura Blue over here doing our best. Other than that, please, everyone, if you are here now, hang out for the Asia qualifier. If you haven't signed up, sign up. If you can't sign up, watch the stream. We'll be here. I'm not sure what the universal time is, but at least for American time or Eastern time, it'll be 8 p.m. Eastern. So whatever that is on EU, and I'm not sure what time it comes to for the Asia folks that it was meant for. But please check that out if you can. I'd appreciate it. This has been Blue Oak TV. I will catch y'all later and kisses.